Jumping right into today's topic, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. As we delve into the 15 most toxic and polluted places on Earth, your engagement really matters. Every like, every subscription, every comment fuels the journey, bringing to light places that are off limits, yet crucial for us to understand. Your support is what makes these videos possible, so don't forget to engage. Our first stop on this toxic tour is Chernobyl, Ukraine, a place that needs no introduction to those familiar with environmental disasters. In the heart of Ukraine, the year was 1986, when one of the world's worst nuclear catastrophes took place. A routine safety test at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant spiraled out of control, leading to an explosion and a subsequent fire that spewed a radioactive plume over much of Europe. This catastrophic event resulted in the immediate death of 2 plant workers, but the long-term effects were far more devastating. The radiation released was some 100 times greater than that of the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Thousands more have suffered from radiation-induced illnesses, many of them fatal in the years that followed. Today, the vicinity around Chernobyl is known as the exclusion zone, a place where time seems to have stood still. Nature has reclaimed the once bustling towns and villages, with flora and fauna thriving in the absence of human interference. Yet, beneath this seemingly serene landscape, the toxic legacy of the nuclear disaster continues to persist. The radiation levels in the soil, water and air remain dangerously high, making it unfit for human habitation. The elephant's foot, a mass of highly radioactive material formed during the explosion, continues to smolder in the basement of the power plant, a grim reminder of the disaster. Efforts to contain the radiation have been ongoing. In 2016, a massive sarcophagus was erected over the damaged reactor, a feat of engineering designed to prevent further radioactive leakage. But the battle is far from over. The effects of this disaster will linger for thousands of years, posing a constant challenge to scientists and engineers. Chernobyl remains a haunting testament to the dangers of nuclear power when it's not properly managed. It stands as a grim reminder of the havoc that can be wreaked when humanity's technological ambitions outpace its wisdom and respect for the natural world. Next, we venture into the Pacific Ocean, to a swirling mass of plastic known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Imagine, if you will, a floating landfill twice the size of Texas, or 3 times the size of France. It's a vast, churning vortex of plastic waste, trapped by the circular ocean currents known as gyres. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch didn't just appear overnight. It's the result of decades of plastic pollution dumped into the ocean only to be swept up by the North Pacific Gyre. Here, the plastic debris collects and accumulates, forming a near impenetrable mat of waste that floats on the ocean surface. But what's the big deal, you might ask? After all, it's out there in the middle of the ocean, far away from our daily lives. The problem is, this floating landfill is having a disastrous impact on our environment. Marine life, for instance, often mistake the tiny, broken-down pieces of plastic for food, leading to starvation and death. Birds, too, are known to feed on the plastic debris, with fatal consequences. Moreover, plastic is not a benign substance. It leaches toxic chemicals into the water, affecting not just the marine life, but also the overall health of our oceans. And let's not forget, these are the same oceans that provide us with a significant portion of our oxygen and regulate our climate. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is not just a remote, out-of-sight problem. It's a stark and visible manifestation of our global plastic addiction. Each piece of plastic in that patch represents a choice we made, a product we used, a convenience we enjoyed. And so, as we gaze into the swirling, churning mass of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, we're forced to confront our own role in its creation. It's a sobering thought indeed. Despite its distance from land, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch serves as a sobering reminder of our planet's plastic problem. Our journey now takes us to Agbogbloshie, Ghana, often called the world's largest electronic waste dump. Just imagine a place where old computers, televisions, cell phones and countless other digital devices from all over the globe come to die. They're not buried or responsibly recycled, but rather dumped in a sprawling wasteland. And this is Agbogbloshie, The health risks to the local people are immense. Many of the residents, including children, spend their days scavenging among the debris, searching for precious metals to sell. They burn the electronic waste to extract these metals, releasing toxic fumes that are incredibly harmful to breathe. The smoke is laced with lead, mercury, arsenic, and a variety of other hazardous substances. These toxins don't just float away with the wind, they seep into the soil, contaminating the local water supply and the food that's grown in the area. The residents of Agbogbloshy are constantly exposed to these toxins, leading to a myriad of health problems. Respiratory issues, skin conditions, neurological damage, and even certain types of cancers are not uncommon among the people living here. But the impact of Agbogbloshy extends beyond its immediate surroundings. The toxins released here contribute to air, water, and soil pollution on a global scale. The precious metals that are extracted and sold only make up a fraction of the electronic waste. The rest, the plastic, the glass, the non-valuable metals, they're left behind to slowly decay, further polluting the environment. Agbogbloshy is a stark reminder of our throwaway culture and the hidden costs of our digital age. We're producing electronic waste at an alarming rate, and much of it ends up in places like Agbogbloshy, out of sight and out of mind for most of us. But we can't ignore the reality forever. The people of Agbogbloshy, they're not just victims, they're a warning that our thirst for the latest and greatest technology comes with a heavy price. Agbogbloshy is a stark symbol of the dark side of the digital age. Next, we travel to Norilsk, Russia, a city with some of the worst air pollution in the world. Enveloped by the icy Siberian tundra, Norilsk bears the dubious distinction of being one of the most polluted cities on Earth. This is largely due to its status as the world's largest heavy metal smelting complex, with over 4 million tons of cadmium, copper, lead, nickel, arsenic, selenium and zinc emissions released into the air annually. Nickel production is the heart of Norilsk's economy, and the city's environmental and health problems are intrinsically tied to it. The nickel industry is responsible for immense volumes of sulfur dioxide and particulate matter being pumped into the atmosphere. These pollutants not only contribute to Norilsk's infamous smog, but also acid rain, which devastates the surrounding environment. This heavy industrial activity has serious implications for the health of Norilsk's residents. Long-term exposure to the high levels of air pollution can lead to respiratory diseases such as asthma and bronchitis. There are also concerns about the potential for increased cancer rates and developmental problems in children. But the damage doesn't stop at human health. The surrounding environment is also under siege. Acid rain, a byproduct of the high sulfur dioxide levels, has annihilated vast tracts of the surrounding forests, leaving behind barren landscapes. It also seeps into the soil, contaminating it and making it unfit for vegetation. The bleak reality is that in a radius of about 30 kilometers around Norilsk, virtually no plant life can survive. The city's rivers and groundwater are also victims of this pollution. Heavy metals from the smelting process find their way into the water systems, posing another threat to both human and ecological health. Despite these alarming realities, the nickel industry remains a vital part of Norilsk's economy, providing jobs for many of the city's residents. It's a stark reminder of the often devastating trade-off between industry and the environment. Norilsk is a chilling example of the environmental cost of industry. From nuclear disaster sites to plastic-filled oceans, we've seen some of the most polluted and toxic places on Earth. Let's take a quick step back and reflect on what we've learned. We started this journey in Chernobyl, Ukraine, where the remnants of a nuclear catastrophe still haunt the environment decades after the incident. Moving on, we navigated the vast stretches of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a massive floating testament to our plastic addiction. Then we visited Agbogbloshy in Ghana, a place where e-waste has transformed the landscape into a toxic wasteland. And finally, we ventured into the icy heart of Norilsk, Russia, a city choking under the weight of its own industrial emissions. The common thread weaving through these disparate locations? It's the indelible mark of human impact. From our reliance on nuclear energy to our insatiable consumption of plastic, from our disposal of electronic waste to our emissions from heavy industries. It's clear that our actions have consequences, often far-reaching and devastating. These places serve as a stark reminder of the damage we've done to our planet, but also the urgent need for change. It's not just about preserving the environment for future generations. It's about ensuring the survival and well-being of all species, including our own, right here, right now. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for joining us on this journey.